fungal dehybridization is probably the single most worked on puzzle out there. I've actually lost a couple, was it copra onions disappeared, and they were a hybrid, and they were such a great onion. And I knew several people that were trying to dehybridize I think it was the copras. Drop from the trade. And that's the one thing I hate about tomato varieties, the hybrids and stuff. They drop them from the trade all the time for no no apparent reason, just this random thing. It's like you settle on one thing, and the next year it's not available anymore. It's very annoying.
Well,
it's a way to stimulate the market. Keep you buying fresh seed.
Well, it's an important point. Another reason to save your own seeds, not for just the hybrids, but we lose so many of our favorite heirloom or open pollinated varieties from the catalogs when they think people don't want them anymore, or their one provider of that seed stops providing it. So that's another really important reason, if we have favorite varieties, to just make sure you're part of the solution and you're saving those seeds so you don't find next year that it's not in any of the catalogs anymore. I know that's true for Tobacco Road Farm. They started saving some, I don't remember which varieties, but they told me that's why they started saving some of the seeds, even though it doesn't seem like a profitable thing to let a crop sit in the field an extra few months till it's ripe for seed. Sometimes it is if that's the core piece of one of your markets, or it's just so important to you.
Flying right by. How many of you have saved tomato seeds? Like a lot of you. So we call it the gateway to seed saving, because that's typically somebody's entry into the vegetable world of seed saving. Easy to do, and you all know fermentation. So the wet seed processing, do several crops. They call it wet seed processing. As you're fermenting the tomato seeds, it serves the important function of, number one, breaking down the gel capsule around the seed, which has a germination inhibitor in it. So the tomato seed isn't germinating in the tomato as it's growing, because that's a warm, moist environment. And secondly, it also functionally sterilizes the seed. It breaks down any sort of pathogens, especially bacterial and fungal pathogens on the seed. So, and all we do is just, for those who haven't done it yet, super easy. One thing some people, and I made this mistake the first time I ever did it, was, you just scoop out the pulp with seeds into, I use a red Solo cup. If it's a drier tomato, you can add a little splash of water. Otherwise, most juicy tomatoes have enough moisture. And let it ferment for 2 or 3 days, depending on the temperature, and it'll get that thick, smelly mat of mold. That's a good thing. I dumped out the first batch I ever did because I thought I did something wrong. It's actually a good thing. And then I just simply run in, take up the hose or the faucet, whatever, and run off. As I just am having the water run in, let it decant and float off. Any of the floating seeds are the non-viable ones. The good seeds sink. I've had people reverse that thought process. So your good seeds are heavier and plumper. They sink to the bottom and just decant, and all the pulp and the debris and stuff floats off. So tomatoes, super easy, super fun, lots of possibilities. Tomatoes are generally self-pollinating, but if you're doing seed trading or anything where you need purity ensured, I just go to the AC Moore, Joanne Fabrics, whatever. In the wedding section, they have those little organza bags, and you can tie them over the blossom clusters until the fruit sets, and then once you see a little fruit-sized marble set, then I take them off. And they have the nice feature to me. They have the little string ties, and I just tie it around the base of that fruit cluster, so I know that fruit cluster was protected during pollination. And they're brightly colored, so you can see them easily. Find them in the field again.
Just add that. I don't do that. I don't bag hardly anything unless I'm protecting it from birds, like sunflowers. But I just isolate personally. I mean, probably for people who grow a variety of things in their garden, Lisa's method would be best if you're going for purity. But for me, I'll grow 2 tomatoes in my field at least 50 feet apart because they're heirlooms and they have more open flower structures than a lot of the newer varieties. So I really try to play it safe. And that way I don't have to worry too much about cross-pollination or bagging because I'm controlling for that with the amount of space between the plants. That's just another method.
Yeah, in my space, in my garden is so regimented that I grow, I might grow them all in 2 feet apart. So I'll bag if I want purity, if I worry about it. So that was just a description of what I basically just went over on wet seed processing. Peppers, all I do, peppers are great because you're saving them as the fruit changes color to its mature color. So you can eat the pepper and just take out the seeds. And peppers aren't really messy or anything. And I just let them dry. Oh.
Hot peppers are not messy, but you could really hurt yourself.
Oh, yeah.
So I use, gloves. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe a mask if it's like a
If it's
scorpion
super
pepper or
hot.
something.
I don't feel hot, super hot. So I'm like, I don't understand those people that are like, I don't have the. And also, one thing, spread out to dry. On the tomato seeds, when they're wet seeds, they tend to stick. A lot of people put on paper towels and you gotta like pick them off the paper towel. Coffee filters, they're kind of have that smoother texture, and you can write right on the coffee filter and label them. And that's the other thing, is always, always, always. You think that you're gonna remember, you never remember. You always write it down, label it right on there. I mean, I have beans, I'm like, ugh. I knew it when I was out in the field filling my pockets, and by the time I mix it up with everything else, I don't remember.
For the wet seeds, I always use, because I'm doing such big quantities usually, I use paper bags, because yes, the paper towels are so annoying to pick seeds up, but paper bags you can just kind of swipe them off
Swipe them.
once they're dry.
Yeah.
You can also use the styrofoam trays you get from the grocery stores. Those work very well. And I just wash them and continue to use them time and time again.
Dry processing, we kind of talked about with the lettuce, a lot of stuff. One of my specialties now is sunflowers, which I actually have some sunflower seeds if any of you want to try my sunflower. It's my profile picture on Facebook. I don't know if I have a picture of it. Maybe. Yeah, we kind of went over dry. Beans, a lot of people ask me a question on my beans about growing varieties and isolation and stuff. I don't isolate, I do mass plantings on beans. To me, beans are an easy beginner crop because they're 95% self-pollinating. Mostly legumes, the beans in particular, the majority, there are promiscuous exceptions, we call them, but promiscuous exceptions, but in general, beans pollinate before the blossom even opens. So they're pretty safe. The exceptions a lot of times will be bumblebees have stronger jaws and they'll chew through the sides of the blossom before and cross. And to me, beans are one of those crops that are fine if I get up to 5% crosses. I don't care because some of the crosses are super interesting to work with, and that's how you can stabilize and get new varieties anyway. So I don't mind, and also, unlike cucurbits, any bean cross is just as edible as the parents. It doesn't matter. Corn, let corn fully dry in the field till the husks are brown, and then I husk it and I store it and I put out, and I use bread trays, spread them out till they're well dried, and then I put them in clean metal garbage cans with the lid on so rodents don't get into it, because I'm doing a fairly large quantity of corn.